Have you ever thought to yourself, man, I really want to buy a new build because I mean, newer is always better, right? Well, when it comes to real estate, I might be one of those realtors that is going to disagree with you. I definitely want to hear out your wants and needs, but there's something to know about buying a new build and what can go wrong. This is Carly Ray with the Day in the Life of a Full-Time Realtor. So recently I had a client that, first of all, struggled to even get into contract on this new build. The project kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. So finally they got a closing date that was going to be in November. Okay, perfect, right before Thanksgiving. Now for Christmas, they were having their family from England. They were having all this different stuff of people that were gonna come and stay with them. So we go into our walkthrough, and just so you know, when you're buying a new build, you have what's called like a blue tape walk, which is essentially you're going through the property and you're blue taping anything to make sure that there's no issues. Now, I'm not going to say the builder's name. However, during this blue tape walk, there was a lot of things that were going on. We were missing shower doors, we were missing mirrors, there's broken tiles. I was looking out, just happened to look out the window because that's not even part of the blue tape. And there was multiple broken tiles. There was nails, there was trash. It was a little bit of a situation. And then in one of the bedrooms, like the floor wasn't even level. The carpet went this way and we put the level down and it was completely like at an angle. And so these were all things that we obviously asked to be repaired. So they have 3 days to fix these items. So we go back on the 3rd day and there's still a bunch of things that are not done. Well, now we're coming up on their lock expiring with their interest rate. There's all these things coming that needed to like close, and plus the holiday with Thanksgiving, etc. So the builder said, hey, look, go ahead and close on the property and we'll make sure that we'll continue to send people in to get these items fixed. Okay, so they fixed the flooring to our satisfaction, but now we're closing. We still don't have shower doors in the master. There's no mirrors in the entire house. There was like a crack on one of the countertops, a couple other items. Okay, so they close. They're supposed to come. They're backlogged. Oh, and their stove. There was something wrong with their stove that they had to order a new stove. So all these things were still waiting. Then they move in and one of the sprinkler heads hadn't been tightened and it bubbles up and like bursts water all over their house because that sprinkler hadn't been done. And now it's been weeks and weeks and weeks trying to get people to come in. They still don't have shower doors. I think they finally got mirrors the other day. Stove still is not in. And then their patchwork to get this sprinkler head done. And by the way, the house is supposed to be guaranteed for an entire year. Like you're supposed to be allowed to have people come in and fix this house to make sure it's in perfect condition. Their patch job, the texture didn't match. And then they super glued like the faucet, which it's supposed to be off in case there is a fire. And when they pointed that out, the guy took a pocket knife out of his pocket and literally just cut a big hole. So now there's like a hole with the unmatched texture where this thing is. And if you look at that versus the one that's across the way, it's embarrassing. And just so you know, sometimes newer isn't always better. Yes, they're supposed to come and fix these things, but it's been now over a month since they've been in this property of calling, texting, emailing, consistent communication of these people trying to avoid and not get this fixed because they're working on the other houses that they're supposed to be closing on. So just some food for thought when thinking about going with a new build or a resale. Take the time to really think about your decision. Also figure out what your timeline is. And these guys had to wait 10 months to get into this house. So what's your time frame? And then make sure you have representation. Think about it. If these guys had bought this house and they did not have a realtor that was fighting for them, can you imagine the conversations that could be being had or the lack of, you know, maybe urgency on the builder side to make sure that these things were taken care of? You have the right when you're buying a new build to hire a realtor. Highly, highly recommend. And guess what? It doesn't cost you anything. It is literally free to you to have a realtor represent your best wants and needs when buying a new build. The builder represents them, the seller. You need to have your own representation. So if you're looking at new builds, I can give you some great information. Our team would love to represent you, love to interview you, and just see if that would be something that you might want to consider. Again, Carly Ray in Las Vegas, Nevada with the Day in the Life of a Full-Time Realtor.